pick some winners and then we say, let's go. So come on. It's time to watch the show. We're talking hardball. Ken Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw. We're talking hardball. Over under on the hot dogs. Talking hardball.
Happy Hump Day. Welcome into a live edition of Betting Weekly Hardball on this Wednesday. I am Doug Kezirian alongside professional bettor Chris Macero, and we have two games underway on the diamond, a handful of, and then some of others that we want to dissect over the next little bit. Solid day on the show yesterday, all things considered. Chris, how are you on this fine Wednesday?
Yeah, it started off a little shaky yesterday. We got 1, 2, 3. The Pirates put down the Dodgers in the first top of the first yesterday, but then Kershaw just had nothing, so the nerfy went away. Luckily, I did jump in on the Pirates, though, and we had a couple losers. The Reds game was a little tough. Lodolo got scratched. So, the guy they brought in ended up giving up 4 in the first. It was 8-1 after the second inning. So that was a tough one to swallow, and Astros weren't too competitive versus Yanks. But we had winners with the Red Sox, the Giants, the Rays, and the Cubs. So, yeah, winning day yesterday. Hopefully we can keep it going today.
The Red Sox cooperated with my run line with a monster number in the 8th inning, especially with 2 outs. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And I almost did the kiss of death yesterday when I talked about the first 5 versus the game, and Sale got touched up in the 6th. So it was 5-1 through 5. I'm, annoyed, but I'm like, okay, but at least we have a big, nice lead here. Nope. Guardians took the lead, but we got there. So you got to remember those types of wins when you cry about the bad beats. So that's something to keep in mind. We have 2 games, as I mentioned, going on right now. Marlins put up 2 runs in the first, 3 runs in the second. It's 5-0 top 4. The Nationals did. So the Nationals lead 5-0 at home. They are in the top of the 4th. Miami trying to scratch and claw. The live number is 3.5. So maybe Marlins first and third with 1 out can do some damage. Over under 11 if that catches your eye. Mets and Tigers. It was a little back and forth early on yesterday, and then Nolan McLean delivered again. Not quite the same unhittable stuff, but he got another win. And today it's 1-1 in the 4th, so a lower scoring game with Casey Mize on the bump for Detroit and Holmes going for the Mets. Anything stand out to you, Chris, in terms of the live wagering?
Not really live wagering. It is shocking, though, to see the Nationals, who had lost 7 or 8 in a row. Now they're going to look like they sweep the Marlins, a team that was pretty much dead in the water. The Marlins were coming in hot. They were scoring a bunch of runs. They were just on fire with the bats, and now they got shut out on Monday. They only put up a couple runs yesterday, and they're getting shut out again. So kind of some shocking development. Same kind of with this Mets game. The Mets offense was on fire, and you're going against Mize today, who hasn't been strong at all of late. So you figure the Mets bats to continue hot, but so far, not so much.
Yeah, so far. Maybe next time through the lineup would be a little different. We'll see. I have a feeling that game may not stay low scoring. It's currently 7.5 over under, -124. We saw the Mets bats get hot in the later innings yesterday. They had the foul off the foul pole was for a home run. I believe it was a 3-run shot. Any interest in maybe over 7.5? Thinking, Mize is walking a tightrope here.
Yeah, I played over 4.5 team total Mets, so I'm not going to jump in again. I'm just going to hope the bats can get going. I'm surprised that Mize has pitched as well as he has so far. This is a weird Tiger team. They get super hot for a long time, long stretches, great home record, but a little bit of a slump again. The problem is no one in the Central can do anything about it, even in the wild card race. Some tough losses by Kansas City the last couple of nights. Cleveland's lost 7 in a row on the road. We mentioned the Boston game. So, Detroit's just they're basically just going to backdoor their way into the division. They had such a big lead, but they just haven't really played well over the last 2 months of the season. They were just so hot early that the lead seems pretty much insurmountable at this point.
Right. So we'll keep an eye on that. And just a reminder, if you like what you hear on our shows, sign up for the newsletter, get exclusive tips and the free Insider magazine. It's really awesome stuff. Sign up for free at bettingweeklystudios.com. So let's turn the page. We'll continue to monitor those two games going on live, but I want to focus on a few other high-profile games. The Yankees bats got there. You got a home run in the eighth for the push on your total, so that was at least helpful in that regard. All Yanks yesterday behind Max Fried. Now Warren goes against Jason Alexander for the Astros, who's been really good, all things considered. I've been betting on him for a few of those starts. This game's prime video, so maybe a little bit of a national television audience. Yanks have won 8 of 9. They're playing strong, $1.30 favorites here. I would not bet into Alexander. I do think this New York lineup has found some life. They've been pretty potent the last stretch. But Chris, you mentioned that this is a rip of harder opponents here, and Yanks did pass the first test yesterday. What about today?
Yeah, it's like I don't usually bet teams that have lost the previous game, but I kind of want to pull the trigger on Houston, although very questionable with what's going on. You saw the Framber Valdez incident last night, throwing at his own catcher. Does this galvanize the team? Does this break up the team? A guy's going to be picking sides. That was a very, very odd instance there. But I feel like I want to pull the trigger on Houston. I haven't pulled it yet. I also feel like this could be an over game. Alexander did pitch great against the Yankees earlier this year on August 10th. He 6 innings, only 1 hit. That was what we were joking. Like if Jason Alexander pitched a no-hitter against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, the New York Post would be writing itself. But is he going to be able to repeat that type of outing? I'm not so sure. And Warren has been terrible on the road, 5.58 ERA. So I could see this being an over. I was able to get 7.5 yesterday, so I actually squeaked across my winner on the total. But I feel like this could be an over game, and I kind of want to back Houston just due to the fact they have such a good home record. The Yankees, do struggle against better teams, but they have been hot. So I haven't got to the window on either one of these plays yet. It's just kind of up in the air. I kind of feel though that Houston gets it tonight.
Right. So I do. I don't think Jason Alexander pitches as great as he did, but I think he's a good pitcher. I like what I've seen. And we've talked about it now. It's not the same as Nolan McLean in terms of how lights out he gets, but sometimes the market can be stubborn and sometimes it doesn't adjust right away. Cooler heads prevail, if you will, in the odds making room in the market. So maybe Alexander's really good, but they're not giving him a lot of respect. And there's a game coming up I want to ask you about as well with a similar thought. But Yankees, $1.30 over under 9. And, no play for us on that one. Shane Bieber's, we keep it in the American League East. By the way, every single member of the American League East is on a win streak. So they're all playing outside the division, obviously. So Bieber is a road favorite in Cincinnati. They've had some fireworks in this series to start. Blue Jays $1.65 as Zach Littell goes for Cincy. And I mentioned the fireworks, but now Bieber's on the bump. Over-unders 9. Feels a little high, but hard to bet under when, we've seen the last couple games in this series, all things considered, because, 12-9 yesterday. You had the crazy 9th inning on Monday. I would look at under, though. I mean, Bieber's been great, right? So it's hard not to. The 167 feels pricey, but Bieber's been fantastic. And this gives me thoughts about the Blue Jays come postseason as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's pump the brakes here on Bieber. He pitched 2 starts. One of them was really good against Miami, lowly hitting Miami. The other one was against Milwaukee. He got the loss, 5 innings at 5 1/3. He gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and gave a home run. So I'm not so sure if he's back or not. He's only pitched 10 innings. So we'll see. I mean, Cincinnati's a good hitting team, play well at home. I played 8.5 over -120 earlier this morning. I just like the fact that I'm not so sure how good Bieber, how long he's going to last. This Toronto bullpen has been a train wreck of late. Them and Milwaukee, the two of the best teams in baseball with 2 of the worst bullpens of late in baseball. And some stats here. You got Littell going for Cincinnati. He's been, average, but some really good hitter stats for the Blue Jays. Bo Bichette, 5 for 11, 455. Vlad Guerrero, 4 for 7 with a home run at 571. Interesting, though, Springer's 0 for 10. But it feels like, Bo Bichette's having a great year. Vlad's having a great year. These guys are going to put up numbers. And I like in that small ballpark, the ball was just flying yesterday. I'm kicking myself for not having the over, even though I got lucky with the over the day before. I like this game to go over. I think there's going to be runs scored. The bullpens are taxed. All those guys pitching yesterday, extra innings the day before. I feel like this is an over game, and I'm not so sure I'm sold on Bieber, being back, just after 2 starts, only pitching 5 innings each one. So I'm going to be on over this game. I know it's up to 9 now. I still like it to go over.
All right, so there's the contrarian, not the contrarian, but the counterpoint, and why the market can be stubborn, right? It's saying, hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Just a reminder, we encourage everyone to join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, what you like, what you dislike, other games you are eyeing. Rick Haley chimes in. Good afternoon, everyone. Same to you, Rick. Welcome aboard. And he says he's laddered up the Jays. Win -1.5 and -2.5. So the alt lines getting involved as well. Certainly can't disagree with that. In terms of if you like it, obviously the payoff can be there as well. I keep mentioning stubborn market, and this is a guy or at least I have been writing for quite a bit. And it's Cade Horton of the Chicago Cubs as the Cubbies host the Braves. $1.57, same price that Imanaga was yesterday, and the over/under of 8. Now Horton was the favorite at one point for Rookie of the Year. That's Drake Baldwin right now in the National League. I think there's been 7 different favorites for this award, but Horton's been outstanding. He's the ace of the Cubs right now. Over/under's 8, juice to the over. But man, I have to bet on Horton every time he pitches. This guy is virtually unhittable. His last outing he gave up 2, but that was in Coors Field. Before that, he hadn't allowed more than 1 run since early July. The guy's been outstanding, Chris.
Yeah, I agree with all the points you're making, and I'm going to be on the Cubs again today. We're going to ride them again. They got 2 great wins over the Braves. They had the walk-off on Monday. It was a tight wire act yesterday. They get out to the nice lead, 4-0. Imanaga gives it right back, 4-3, and they had to hold on at the end. Even had runners on in the 9th inning. But yeah, definitely going back to the Cubs today. Horton has been outstanding at home, 3-1 with a 1.71 ERA. Elder, he's pitched okay of late, but I think he's going to revert back to what he's been most of the year: 5-9, 5.85 ERA on the road, 4.82. He does have some decent numbers against the Cubs hitters, but I just like the way this Cubs team's playing. They went through a little lull at the end of August. They had that rough stretch. They had the 5 games against the Brewers, took a lot out of them. They're back home where they play well, 43-25. Braves 15 under 500 on the road. So this is all systems go for Cubs. I seen this line was at 146. We're up to 157. Follow the money here. I like the Cubs to get the sweep of the Braves.
I do too. I'm going to get a little cute here. I'm going to play the run line +140. I don't think much of Elder. You mentioned the dramatic thing. I think Horton's going to throw BBs and seeds tonight. I'll get a little risky with the run line. So 2 plays on the Cubs for us officially here. Keeping an eye on the other games. Now the Marlins were unable to scratch any runs home, but the Nats add in the 4th. So it's 7-0 up a touchdown in DC. Bottom 4, 1 out. Scoreless inning in the 4th for Detroit. Mets and Tigers 1-1 as they head to the 5th inning. Updated over/under. Last time we discussed it, it was 7.5. Now it's 7. Over/under in Washington is 11. Chris, I always get tempted to play the under when it's 1-1, but you like some of the bullpen to get touched up here. So you would say proceed with caution if I liked under 7 as they head to the 5th in Detroit.
Yeah, it's almost like they're telling you there's going to be runs. I mean, 7 seems pretty high, but it's a 1-1 game. But
Right.
like Mize, yeah, I know. I'm shocked at the result right now. I thought this would be a high-scoring game, especially the way the Mets bats have been just on fire. If you look back the last week or so, 10 days, they have the most runs in baseball. Soto's been absolutely on fire. Going into, not that they give out a 3rd prize for MVP, but he's moving into the 3rd position for the MVP in the National League. And you're just kind of shocked the way Mize has pitched of late. Super high ERA the last month of August. I thought the Mets would have some more runs, but sometimes you see these on the day games. Teams want to get out of town. I thought it was, a little strange because I think the Mets are going to Cincinnati next. Not exactly, not exactly like going to Vegas or New York City or Miami to get ready to party the next night with the night off. So, but sometimes these day games, just, the swing and miss. The umpires want to get out of town too, getaway day. Sometimes they're lower scoring.
I know Wes Reynolds has talked about that a lot, the getaway day on these Wednesdays and Thursday shows. I'm always interested. I'd love to do a deep dive in that, see what transpires. So we'll keep an eye on that game. The over-under's gone from 7.5 to 7. We'll see what happens next. But Mets obviously in a crucial game for their playoff pursuits, all things considered. Phillies leading the NL East. Brewers leading the NL Central. Nice showdown in Milwaukee. Aaron Nola all of a sudden has a lot more responsibility and pressure to deliver given what's happened with Zach Wheeler out for the season. Quintana goes for Milwaukee. Coin flip game with the Brewers minus 118 and the over-under 9, under-juiced minus 117. So, this should be a really good game. It's just, I don't know what version of Nola we're going to get these days, although he answered the bell the last game out. I would lean Phillies here. What about you?
Let me tell you, this game is very weird to me. I feel like the over-under is the way to go, but I'm surprised it's juiced to the under 9. I mean, look at these last couple outings with these pitchers. Quintana at home, 5.05 ERA, not exactly lights out. And Nola, his last 3 starts, 14 and a third innings. He's given up 12 earned runs. He only has 12 starts on the year. He's only pitched 64 innings. He's given up 75 hits and 46 earned runs. He's got a 6.47 ERA. This isn't the Aaron Nola of the past few years. And on the road, Nola's 0-4 with a 6.39. I want to get involved in the over. I haven't played it yet. 9 is a tough number. 5-4 is a push. And, the guys do have some name recognition, Nolan and Quintana. But I just feel like the way the Brewers bullpen has been of late and the Phillies bats and the Brewers bats, I mean, this game should be an over type of game. Maybe I haven't looked at the market yet. Maybe look at a Yurfie first inning here. A couple of pitchers are they're not on their game, especially Quintana at home for some reason. He's got his ERA on the road substantially better than it is at home, which is odd for a pitcher on a first place team. So I haven't played it yet. I'm going to lean to the over, maybe dive in a little bit more, maybe a Yurfie, something like that. I just feel like the stats are just kind of eye popping with what's been transpired with these pitchers the last few starts, especially Nola, giving up 12 earned runs in only 14 innings over his last 3, 7.53 ERA in that stretch.
Yurfie is minus 136 right now at Bet Rivers. As the game we were tracking, Mets and Tigers, that is now 6.5. So just like that, leadoff guy gets out, and it's 2 outs right now in the top of the 5th. Casey Mize working on a 5-hitter. So I thought it was like a 2-hitter, but yeah, I mean he's keeping him off from scoring. So Brewers $1.18. I know it's a little tricky. I was eyeing this one, doing a double take, questioning it. I do like Nola, but I think he's a bigger game pitcher. This is a big game though, but I think I might bet on Nola come playoff time. I've always liked his game. I was on him when they faced the Marlins in cold weather in the playoffs. He's a guy who can throw a heavy ball, but I don't know if today's the right scenario. Chris's favorite player, Shohei Ohtani, on the bump today for the Dodgers as they go to Pittsburgh. They lose game 1 in a wild game. Chris mentioned Kershaw not being sharp at all. Ashcraft goes for the Bucks. This Dodgers team has just been an absolute, money pit or whatever you want to call it. Just a strong leak if you've been betting on them. These heavy prices, and they just have not delivered. So $1.86 here. Over under 8 feels low. But Ohtani, I mean, he can pitch well. He just hasn't pitched well.
Well, look at the Dodgers bullpen was in big time action yesterday, and it wasn't delivering at all. Blake Trinan was in there giving up all sorts of hits. I don't know who they turn to here. And Ohtani is only going to pitch 5 innings. Maybe he gets into the 6th if he pitches well. His last 9 starts, I've mentioned this before, the team's record is only 3-6 his last 9 starts. He's 1-1 with a 4.18 ERA. Hasn't pitched great. And when he does pitch, he only pitches for a couple innings, and then the bullpen comes in. And we all know the Dodgers bullpen isn't great. Give this guy Ashcraft some credit. 5 starts, 2.58 ERA. His last 3 starts, 15 and 2/3 innings, only 8 hits, 2 earned runs. And Pittsburgh's gone 2-1 in both those games. I'm all over Pittsburgh here. Give me the plus money. Dodgers are under 500 on the road. Not too many. Not sure how many people knew that. And look at this Pirates team. After last night's win, 10 games over 500 at home, playing really well. They're 7-3 their last 10 games. Just a little bit of a, it's just you're looking at the jerseys, you're looking at the empty Pittsburgh Pirates Stadium, and you just don't think it's true. But hey, Pittsburgh is playing better than the Dodgers of late. The problem is we have the Padres at 18-1 for the division, and they can't get out of their own way. So I like the Pirates tonight. I think they're going to win this game. Even if Ohtani pitches 5 innings, they're going to bring the bullpen in at some point, and everyone's been able to get to this bullpen. Even the Pirates' lonely lineup last night putting up a bunch of runs against this Dodger team. Dodger team's not hitting great. I like the way Ashcraft pitched his last 5 starts.
Right, so grab the candy with plus 155. Couldn't fault you there. I've been kicking myself just staring at Dodgers scores for the last couple of weeks. Like, why aren't I betting against them? Why aren't I betting? Because you're getting just monster return on the dog, especially on the road when they're, when the Dodgers are at home and the road team's getting even extra juice. You mentioned the San Diego Padres. Nasty Nestor on the bump for San Diego with the Orioles in town. O's got to them yesterday. Like you said, the Padres can't get out of their own way. It's been frustrating. Just having this huge futures price. The Dodgers are certainly cooperating and opening the door for us. I have bet against Cortez, and I've been burned, and I'm not about to do it again. Now, there's some experience here with the Orioles facing him with the Yanks, but I think Cortez is crafty. In the past, I did bet on him when he was solid, but I can't get involved with this Padres team that is just so flat lately.
Yeah, Nestor has held the Orioles hitters to a 13 of 68 at 191 clip, only 2 home runs given up. Both these guys, Povich and Cortez, ERAs in the 5s. Nestor's actually pitched a lot better at Petco, so maybe he kind of saves the day for this Padres team. You don't want to get swept by the Orioles, a team that was dead on arrival, got on a long West Coast road trip, had nothing to play for, weren't hitting, weren't pitching. And now the Padres are just, they're in a world of hurt here. They've lost 3 in a row. They're 3-7 the last 10. They're only hitting 243. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this yesterday, but 29th in Major League Baseball in home runs. They've only hit 119 home runs. The Yankees have doubled them in home runs this year almost. It's a crazy stat for a team with Tatis and Machado and Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill, and it's just a shocking display. And watching the game last night, just with almost no hope to score any runs against a Orioles team that's not strong in the back end of the bullpen or the starting rotation. Pitched a guy last night who hasn't pitched in over a year. He shuts the Padres lineup down. So to your point, I wouldn't be able to back the Padres either. Cortez does have some good stats at Petco and some good stats against the Orioles, but I'm just going to steer clear out of this game until the Padres get it going again. It's tough to back them when they're not able to score.
And in our comments section, we had a few on this game. City by the Bay says, I like the Orioles over 3.5. Nestor's been really solid, but I just have a feeling. Yeah, what do you do sometimes when you have your gut tells you something that goes against the numbers?
Well, it's sometimes, even though the numbers are what they are, like today, I almost pulled the trigger on Washington because I'm like, hey, they won 2 in a row. They're on a little bit of a win streak. When does Washington have a win streak? But then you look at the numbers, and it's Mitchell Parker. He's terrible. And, Yuri Perez has good stats against the Nats. And so, I just stayed away from the game. But, in hindsight now, I wish I just played the momentum factor. You win 2 in a row. Maybe you win 3 in a row. Maybe you win 7 in a row. And that's what happens with some of these teams. And, it goes the same way when you're losing. And right now, the Padres are just, they're not hitting. They're not pitching great. They've had some guys come up with some injuries. And right now, they're just not a team you can back.
Yeah, I agree, especially at that price, too. $1.77. I mean, the O's were terrible to start the year, but they've shown some signs of life. And they obviously did yesterday in San Diego. So just not something I can get involved with. Keep an eye on those 2 live games going on. Still 1-1 in Detroit. 6.5 is the over-unders. The Tigers are batting bottom half of the inning. They may have a runner on, depending on how the odds change. But the Marlins scored, like I mentioned, so we're still in the top of the 5th. 7-2 Nats lead 1 out. Again, Marlins batting. So if you have Washington first half, you are looking good, obviously. That over-under, earlier in the show, we said it was 11. It's now 12.5. So that total's gone up higher. The Tigers total has come down. And Chris, there is a runner on first, 1 out. So Torres batting for Detroit, but I think after this half inning, I might look at the under here and take the bait at 6.5. Now, it may move to 6, but I have a feeling it could be 6.5 juiced heavily because you always got the extra innings looming. Again, I think I might take the bait, but like you said, it feels high for a reason.
Well, the other game, I would maybe lean a little bit over live if you're thinking about getting in and want a little afternoon sweat here. The Nationals have the worst bullpen for the season long all year. The bottom of the barrel, no lead is safe for the Nationals, and you never know. Like Marlins team gets a few going, and next thing you know, they bring in one of their lowly relievers, and this game's tied up or something. But long way to go. Only the 5th inning. Marlins get to bat this inning plus 4 more times. You can maybe see an over going there because Nationals bullpen is just terrible.
That's 7-2, so that's obviously 9 total runs, 12.5 over -130. So 4 more runs is all that's needed to cash an over. And the Nats bats, I've already put up 7. Maybe this is their game where they just do the merry-go-round, so to speak, on the Bates paths. All right, I'm going to go back to the well for our next game. It's the San Francisco Giants visiting the Colorado Rockies. Giants have won 9 of 10. They've been on fire. Robbie Ray going for San Fran, and Marquez, friend of the program, going for the Rockies. We've certainly bashed him enough this year, and we've bashed the Rockies, but for good reason. So 220 road chalk. I'm going to take the bait with the run line. Yesterday, I went -2, got a late rally, but the Rockies bullpen is part of the equation always. So I'm going to lay just 1.5 -143. No need to lay the 2. This Giants team's been raking. Devers has been raking. Chris, I know you want to feed the hot hand, so to speak, often. I'm going to do that right here with San Francisco.
Yeah, it's a good start. We got the Giants for most wins in September, 40-1. They're 9-1 their last 10, won 3 in a row. They're back to 500 on the road. Robbie Ray, 10-6, 3.16. Good ERA on the road, 3.02. Little bit of question mark, though. He does have some tentative stats against the Rockies hitters, a batting average of 289. But on the flip side, though, as you're tongue-in-cheek with fan of the show, Marquez, 3-12. It's amazing, these numbers on the Rockies pitchers. 3-12, 6.14. At home, 1-8, 6.36. He's given up 5 home runs to this San Fran lineup. I can't blame you for betting San Fran. I'm probably going to use them in a parlay somewhere along the lines tonight. I haven't put it together yet, but they'll definitely be on my card at some point. They're going to, I assume they're going to sweep the Rockies, even with that bad blood that started last night. Devers been completely on fire. For a guy that a lot of question marks, clubhouse guy, can't feel, led the league in errors at third base. He sure is a really good hitter. I'm glad that the contract's not saddling the Red Sox anymore, because I don't think the guy really has a position, but he is a great hitter, and he's showing that right now. And the team is as hot as they come, and they're the hottest team in baseball at the moment. Like I mentioned, 9 out of the last 10.
And every team's going to go through these runs, even the good ones. Like you mentioned, I don't know, a few weeks ago, you said, hey, be careful the Mets. They haven't had their run yet. And sure enough, they're doing it. Your buddy tipped you off to that. And the Giants can be streaky, and I like to bet on them. Even as a Dodger fan, I usually get annoyed when they start putting things together and go on these runs where the production and the results don't match the talent, so to speak. But Devers actually is a big name, but they do have some pitching, and they're beating up on the Rockies. We're not exactly, asking them to go in and take on some of the best teams. So I'm okay. I'm going to do the run line. Like I said, $1.43. I'll take that bait as well. Mariners and Rays, really good game yesterday. I lost the under. That was my lone loss yesterday, but we got there with Tampa, even though Rasmussen was not particularly sharp. Hauser, mid-season acquisition, going for Tampa. Kirby is going for Seattle. $1.41 road chalk here. Road chalk for Kirby and this Mariners team that hasn't been playing great. It's dog or pass for me. What about you?
This series reminds me of the series a few, maybe a month ago. Atlanta was hosting Milwaukee, and Atlanta was favored every game. I mean, it's a little different situation, but Seattle's been favored every game against Tampa, and Seattle's the team going in the wrong direction. Tampa's won 5 in a row. Kirby's ERA is almost 5 on the road, 4.73. Hauser hasn't pitched great with Tampa, but he has the capability of shutting down any lineup. He had some great stats early this year with the White Sox, and I'm just just out of principle, team with a 5-game winning streak at home who just beat the Mariners 2 in a row. The bats have been hot for the Rays, and you're going to give me plus money again? Tampa Bay 8-2 their last 10. Seattle 4-6. They were hitting a little bit last night, but they're just not getting the clutch hit. They left a lot of guys on base. I was texting with Scott Seidenberg, who has a big Aaron Judge MVP future, and I was laughing at him. I go, that was a big pop-up for you because the dumper came up with the bases loaded, and he popped up to end the game. So Seattle, they're in trouble on the road, 32-39. If anyone in the Central, Cleveland, we're asking you, or Kansas City, we're asking you if you can put some wins together. This Seattle team is there for the taking to knock them out of the wild card. They're just not playing well at all right now. I don't trust Kirby, especially on the road. Give me Tampa again, plus money.
Okay. Yeah, you're on it. 120. And it is funny how sometimes the market, I like Hauser. So I certainly can get behind that. And, sometimes the market's telling you what the right side is. As for the game, it's 2 on, 2 out, bottom 5. So still 1-1. And the Mets make a pitching change. They pull Holmes, and now Soto's out of the pen. Again, first and second, 2 out, still 1-1, bottom 5. So we're keeping an eye on that game. I'm very curious about that over-under as we go to the Mets bullpen. Mentioned the Red Sox. The Bats woke up late, got rallied for the win and cover of the run line. Bernardino going for Boston at Fenway here. Guardians with Allen on the bump for Cleveland. What's your read on this game? I want no part of either pitcher. I would lean over maybe. What about you?
Well, we got a fun fact. Last night, the guy that closed out the game was Bernardino, pitched 1 inning.
Really?
And today he's starting. I have no idea what the hell's going on, but they don't have any pitchers. They got, they released Walker Buehler. They brought Tolley up, but Tolley can only pitch on 5 or 6 days rest. Such a strange thing. So he's pitching to Friday in Arizona. So they don't have anyone to pitch. I heard they're bringing up another pitcher who's supposed to pitch tonight, but he's not pitching. So Bernardino is going to give you 1 inning. He was an opener a couple of weeks back, pitched 1 inning, pitched great. They took him out for no reason. And they ended up giving up a bunch of runs in the second inning. So you're just going to have to maybe live bet this game. I'm probably going to be on the Red Sox just because I've been on them the last 3 games, and I'm going to keep staying on them. Cleveland's lost 7 in a row on the road. They were hitting the ball last night. I don't know what got into Crochet. Crochet, interesting stat, and he kind of probably blew the Cy Young last night, or any chance to win the Cy Young. But Crochet is giving up 46 earned runs, but he's given up 20 home runs. So basically, I don't have the exact number how many of those are 2 or 3 run shots, but more than half of his earned runs have come from the home run ball. Very, very odd. If he could just limit the home runs, he'd be having one of the most outstanding seasons going. So I'd be on Red Sox or nothing. This Cantillo had 2 innings in relief against the Red Sox early this year. He gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and a home run. And Raffaello was the guy with the home run, with the big home run last night. So maybe this guy's getting hot at the right time and facing a guy that he's already hit well. Maybe look for a home run prop with Raffaello or a total bases prop with him. It would be Red Sox or nothing for me. I'm not going to back a Cleveland team that's lost 3 in a row and 7 in a row on the road.
It's just coming down the news wire. Roman Anthony going to be placed on the injured list with an oblique strain. So he's out of the Red Sox lineup. Does that impact any of your analysis or anything like this?
Yeah, it's not good for the team because the team they've had a bunch of guys on the injured list, whatever. And the professional at-bats are few and far between. You got Bregman, you had Roman Anthony. There's not many guys that are, patient and look at the, work the strike zone like, Bregman and Anthony do. There's a lot of free swingers like Duran and Rafaela and some guys that are just the baseball IQ isn't as sharp as Anthony, and that is a big loss. He's an on-base guy. He's walking a lot. He's hitting 300. That is a big loss for the team. Hopefully, he's able to bounce back. Maybe it's only a 10-day stint, and we'll see what happens. But I saw Carabas tweeting about it this morning that he was very worried about Anthony, and he's a big component of this team. They played a lot better when he's in the lineup.
Alex Cora just mentioning that and hitting the news wires. Yeah, you mentioned professional at bats. I like how you phrase that because he really does so wise beyond his years in so many ways. Really, really good stuff. So it's still 1-1, bottom fifth. Both runners have advanced, though. They're both in scoring position. We'll keep you updated. You mentioned Crochet. I'm stunned at the drastic change, but you nailed it. The American League Cy Young yesterday, I think it was Skubal minus 180. He's now minus 1430, and Crochet is now 10-1. I think that feels like a drastic change where Skubal could get touched up as well in the next game. I know he's seemingly found his groove, and after a couple shaky outings, had that nice, impressive 10 strikeout performance. But this is a fickle market late in the season, so I'd be really careful on some of this stuff. I wouldn't lay the 1430, by the way. Hey, just a reminder to get up to a 100% profit boost on your MLB same game parlay today. Opt in at Bet Rivers and get your MLB midweek profit boost on any same game parlay with odds of plus 100 or longer. Check the Bet Rivers app for full details. And the Tigers do get a big base knock and they take the lead 3-1. So both runners score, still batting in the fifth inning. So that was a high leverage moment for the Tigers. And I'll give you the updated in-game line now minus $4. So after they take the 3-1 lead, bottom five, over under back up to 7.5. So we went from 7 to 6.5, I believe 6 for a hot second, and now back up to 7.5 with the Tigers getting the big 2-out hit. Any thoughts here?
No, I'm just like I mentioned, I was on Mets team total over, so that doesn't look like it's going to get there. Surprising that Mize has pitched as well, but you never know. It's still early. There's still a lot of bats, and these bullpen, as we've seen over the last month or so, no lead is safe in baseball. I mean, absolutely no lead is safe. Doesn't matter what inning, what the situation, how many runs, 6-1, doesn't matter. Team wins 7-6. Doesn't just amazing. Because you can't trust many of these bullpens. And what Chapman has been doing for the Red Sox has just been, unbelievable. There's a few other guys in baseball the same way, but most of these guys are just not reliable. And at this point in the season, they've worked so much and they're worn out, and crazy things happen late in these games. You can catch some nice live totals or some big comebacks with some guys, some teams, a big plus money. You got to you just got to be willing to pull the trigger, because it happens every night. There's always one or two of these games where the team's down huge and they end up walking it off.
Speaking of bullpens blowing it, as you predicted, Marlins have added 2 more runs. They still have 2 on in the fifth, 2 out, albeit. So that is 7-4 Nationals with the lead. The live total you touched on at 12.5, now 15.5. So keep an eye on that game. Chris, you could have had an official play here on the show, but good insight. Final game I know you want to touch on. Royals hosting the Angels. The Halos got the win yesterday on the road. Dana goes for LA, and then Berger goes for Kansas City. And they're heavy favorites for a reason, what sometimes people say, $1.75. It's a big number.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Royals first 5 here. This Berger came over from the Padres. Pitched really well. I don't understand why they had to include him in the Fermin trade, but he really has pitched well. He's pitched 7 outings this year. He's given up 2 earned runs or less in all 7. He's 2-1 with a 2.67 ERA. Dana for the Angels only had 2 appearances, 7.5 ERA, 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, and 5 earned runs. He's given up 2 home runs. So I'm not going to trust the Royals, because I feel like once this Berger comes out of the game, anything could happen. He's only probably going to go 5 innings. That's usually what he does, and then he comes out. But I like him first 5. I figure Kansas City can get to Dana a little bit. Berger gives you his regular 5 innings, 1 or 2 runs. Maybe the Royals can get up early. Let's go with the Royals first 5 as another official play.
All right. $1.67 at Bet Rivers is the first 5 money line price. So they did get out of it after giving up a couple runs. So we head to the 6. Mets trail 3-1. Live total 7.5. Unders juiced minus 141. Marlins still batting. Top 5 now. Bases chucked. So really, you said, who you know? What do you know? Maybe the Marlins tie it, and they are 1 hit away from tying it, or technically taking the lead. We always encourage you to get involved in the conversation. Our chat is alive and well. some people, weighing in on what action they have. Thomas Maggio likes the Red Sox run line, so thinks their dominance at home keeps up. City by the Bay is rooting for the Tigers. He says, "Let's go Tigers." As for Burgert, he says Burgert, one of the more underrated pitchers this season. So he says, he's thinking along your lines. This Angels lineup always scares me, though. So I'm always afraid because they just swing for the fences seemingly on every swing. And I feel like it's feast or famine. Sometimes they do feast, and I'm on the wrong side of that. But all right, my man. I didn't have a lot of plays. You did, so good for you. I know our audience loves that. But that's going to do it for this edition of Betting Weekly Hardball. We are every weekday, Monday through Friday. That is 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. So Chris and I went back to back. Chris is back on the show Friday with the Bowl. I'm back on the show tomorrow. So I'll be with Wes Reynolds. And don't forget, we also have Betting Weekly Fast Break. That's top of the hour. Sarah and Wes will be in action hosting that. We have a couple interesting games tonight in the W. So a lot of stuff going on and tons of football as well. So make sure you keep it tuned to the Bet Rivers Network. We have plenty of shows for you. So for Chris Macero and everyone behind the scenes that does such an awesome job, I'm Doug Kezirian. Best of luck with your wagers, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.